In a world veiled by mystery and danger, the intricacies of Grimgar unfold. This land, known simply as Grimgar, is an enigma where survival hangs by a thread and every sunrise brings uncertainty. Within this realm lies the Arabakia Kingdom, the bastion of humanity's hope, nestled near the formidable Tenryu Mountains. The kingdom thrives, fiercely guarding its territories from the lurking dangers of the unknown frontier. At the heart of this kingdom, the fortress city of Alterna stands resilient, a bulwark against the ever-present threats beyond its walls. It harbors diverse inhabitants who seek refuge and prosperity. Amid this bustling sanctuary, the characters find themselves thrust unexpectedly into a bewildering reality. The first realization that grips them is a profound sense of disorientation. Surrounded by dim candlelight flickering against rocky walls, the group awakens with fragmented memories and blurred identities. Fear and confusion hang heavy in the air as they grapple with their surroundings, each one of them a stranger to this new life and to each other. Conversations ripple among them, their voices tinged with an overwhelming mix of anxiety and hope. A man with striking silver hair takes charge, leading the way through the dim-lit path. As they navigate the cavern-like passage, a haunting question echoes in their minds: how did they end up here and who were they before? As they venture forward, the eerie glow of candles illuminating their uncertain path seems endless. Time becomes a blur, their bearings lost in the creeping, unsettling stillness of the cave. Yet, driven by survival instincts, they move relentlessly ahead, hoping for answers that remain maddeningly out of reach. Suddenly, the dimness gives way to a brighter glow. An iron gate emerges, signaling a potential exit. But escape is fraught with challenges, as the group finds themselves confronted by a man draped in armor, a living remnant of an unfamiliar era. His presence hints at customs and realities foreign to their understanding, offering a glimmer of insight into the world that now envelops them. Emerging from the cave, they are greeted by the outside world, a place suspended between twilight and dawn, where the sky stretches infinitely above them. Determined to unravel the mysteries of Grimgar, they face the dawn, a mere prelude to the trials that await. Amidst the surreal atmosphere, a structure looms in the distance, a tower dwarfing the land beneath. Their curiosity piqued, the group edges closer, eager to uncover its secrets. But as they approach, the space they had just vacated begins to close in on itself, swallowing the path to their past. The curious tower brings them face to face with Hiyomu, an eccentric guide who appears, more or less, to be orchestrating their introduction to this strange land. With an infectious enthusiasm, Hiyomu welcomes them to Grimgar, embracing them with an unsettling familiarity that belies their fear and uncertainty. As they follow Hiyomu across the terrain, the land beneath their feet shifts. A graveyard comes into view, its quiet presence whispered into existence among the stones. It stands solemnly as a testament to the lives swallowed by Grimgar, a chilling reminder that this world is as much their end as it is their beginning. In the distance, the red moon hangs ominously, casting its eerie glow over the land. This celestial anomaly becomes a symbol of Grimgar's inexplicable nature, hinting at dangers yet unseen and mysteries untold. It marks the threshold of their journey and the only certainty in a realm where memory falters and reality shifts. As they stand on the precipice of the unknown, Grimgar looms before them, uncharted, unforgiving, and impossible to escape. With every step, the group begins to understand the fragility of their existence in this new world, their past erased and future uncertain. Yet even in the face of overwhelming odds, a shared resolve begins to emerge, binding them together in the fragile hope of finding meaning and purpose amidst the ash and fantasy of Grimgar. In a peculiar part of town, buildings stand mostly as structures of stone with surprisingly few being made of wood. Cobblestone streets wind through the area, where names are mysteries, and strangers try to grasp remnants of memories that slip away like water through fingers. Among them is Haruhiro, who, like the others, struggles to recall anything about his past. As Haruhiro wrestles with the void of his memory, he accepts the absence with a certain resignation. He and several others find themselves dressed in simple attire, feeling the perplexity of their situation. They question how they arrived in this place, now known as Alterna, and ponder the fragments of a past that feels more like a shadow. Each person is a puzzle piece, disconnected and adrift, including a particularly boisterous character named Ronta. Ronta's loud antics draw the others' attention, and his exaggerated mannerisms entertain as they all begin to introduce themselves. One by one, they share the names they've either remembered or adopted: Haruhiro, Minato, Maguzo, Shihoru, Yume, and Ronta himself. The exchanges are filled with cautious curiosity and underpinned by an unspoken bond of shared confusion. As they stand together, bewildered yet oddly comforted by the presence of one another, they notice a peculiar sign inviting them to enlist in the volunteer soldier corps, which promises purpose and identity in the chaos. Haruhiro and his newfound acquaintances decide to explore this opportunity, hoping it might offer answers or direction in their uncertain existence. Approaching the office marked by a red crescent moon, they encounter a mix of battle-worn soldiers and fresh recruits, each possessing their own stories etched in their expressions. They meet a man named Brittany, who welcomes them with an exuberance that feels oddly out of place in such a serious setting. Brittany explains that by joining the volunteer soldier corps, they will be trained to fight against hostile races and monsters while protecting the borders of the realm. As the group listens, each chooses how to approach this new chapter. Some embrace the possibility with enthusiasm, while others, like Minato, consider the risks. But the collective hope is for purpose, perhaps even belonging, in a world where they have little else to hold on to. Rinji, a charismatic and formidable presence, takes an interest in Haruhiro and his group, offering them wisdom wrapped in mystery. "You're all in this together," he tells them. "Learn quickly, and survive together." His words resonate, infusing them with a mixture of fear and determination. Despite their doubts, the group receives badges marking their initiation into the corps. Almost immediately, conflicts arise as they grapple with their roles and responsibilities. Buzzcut, another abrasive character, challenges Rinji, only to be swiftly subdued, displaying the harsh realities of their path. The incident serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers they will face. Leaving the office, Haruhiro and the others are more aware of the weight on their shoulders. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows on the cobblestones, they realize their journey is only beginning. Though memories elude them, a shared commitment binds them, one forged in uncertainty, but blazing with the potential of newfound camaraderie and the promise of discovery in a world of fantasy and ash. Haruhiro stands in the office of the Red Moon Volunteer Soldier Corps, watching as Minato leaves, pondering if they should have all accompanied him. But time slips by, and soon he realizes it's too late. Kuzuka enters the room, bringing with him a palpable sense of judgment as he glances around. "I heard we had some newbies," he says. A man known as Brichan confirms him, mentioning there aren't enough leftovers for any open positions. Haruhiro, Ronta, Shihoru, Maguzo, and others face the harsh reality of being considered the leftovers. As they absorb this, Kuzuka makes a statement: "You should be grateful there aren't more of you." A few words between Brichan and Ronta highlight the sting of their situation, and Maguzo, silently, agrees to leave with Kuzuka, who drags him away, marking how uncertain and unstable their current path is. Haruhiro, far from feeling confident, tells Ronta, Shihoru, and Yume, "We're just sort of here." They were not proactive and are now grappling with being unfit for a group. They reflect on transitioning from this static existence to something meaningful. Haruhiro knows they're behind, admitting, "This can't be good." Ronta attempts to find comfort in humor, but their situation remains pressed by a sense of lacking direction. Haruhiro steps outside, leaving Ronta, Yume, and Shihoru to their thoughts. He receives a nod of support as he tries to figure out where to head next. As he walks along the unfamiliar streets, Haruhiro feels slightly optimistic but aware that he must find a path quickly. While wandering, he encounters people peddling their goods, calling out offers for their wares. He hesitates, unsure of what's real or not, but he presses on. Finally, he reaches Dory's skewers and is caught by the appetizing scent of grilled meat. The vendor offers him a deal, desperately trying to manage his sparse resources. Haruhiro decides on a simple purchase, all he can afford. Next, Haruhiro finds himself at the Yorozu Deposit Company, a building that stands distinctively among the other structures. He is greeted by the Yorozu, a woman whose mannerisms are both firm and businesslike. She questions him and guides him to register, explaining her meticulous process and the significance of their services. She gently teases him about learning the ropes of commerce and managing his finances, encouraging him to adapt quickly. In the end, Haruhiro manages a deposit but worries about being clever, aware they must secure their supplies cautiously. He rewards himself with another visit to Dory's skewers, succumbing to the inviting aromas and hoping to find some fleeting comfort and strength in his meal. Haruhiro savors a meal at a street market, pondering his life decisions. He wonders if he's cut out for being a volunteer soldier and, despite encouragement from his comrades like Ronta, Shihoru, and Yume, feels uncertain about his path. The market's vibrant atmosphere and the warm flavors help distract him from his concerns. Then, he meets Shinohara, a seasoned volunteer. Shinohara advises Haruhiro, acknowledging the uncertainty he's feeling is natural, learning from experience takes time. This encounter makes Haruhiro reflect on his journey. Shinohara suggests they grab a drink together, but Haruhiro decides against it, opting for some solitude. As Haruhiro navigates through the bustling streets, he contemplates what to do next. He wonders if his choice to become a volunteer soldier was wise but concludes that exploring this path might be his best option for now. Eventually, Haruhiro finds himself facing the unfamiliar surroundings of West Town. Here, choices made now seem pivotal to his future. He proceeds toward a guild he'd learned about from Minato, the Guild for Thieves, which captivates him despite the risks involved. It feels like a chance to carve out something distinctive. Arriving at the guild, Haruhiro is greeted by Barbara, a senior member who exudes a dangerous allure. She accepts him into the guild, teasing him with an uncertainty that makes his heart race. Haruhiro agrees to join and undergoes a 7-day training program. During his initiation, Barbara-sensei shares the guild's secrets and philosophies, focusing on practical training, stealth, and ambush techniques. Though grueling, Haruhiro finds it rewarding and takes it all in stride. He learns skills like picking locks and covert tactics, key survival strategies in his line of work. After the week of training, Barbara comments on Haruhiro's potential, giving him the trade name Old Cat. Although Haruhiro finds the name a bit unglamorous, he takes it in good humor. As Barbara leaves, Haruhiro feels a mix of relief and confidence through his newly acquired skills. Meeting up with his friends, Haruhiro feels grateful to be reunited. Seeing Ronta and Yume casually enjoying food, their camaraderie reminds him of why he chose this path. Ronta and Yume provide lively banter and, despite Haruhiro's earlier worries, he feels reassured being part of this tight-knit group once more. Shihoru, quieter and reserved, joins them, strengthening their bonds further. Among the bustle and the smells of the marketplace, Haruhiro feels a sense of belonging. Life as a volunteer soldier might be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but standing there with his companions, he knows he's not on this journey alone. Together, they share a laugh, ready to take on whatever challenges lie ahead. In the heart of this unfamiliar world, Haruhiro stands amidst his companions, observing the fragmented camaraderie that isn't quite as solid as the bond he sees in other warrior groups. Ronta, with his irreverent attitude, begins the banter with a comment that unintentionally cuts through the fragile confidence of Yume and Shihoru. "Pretty pudgy and her boobs are tiny," he blurts out, referring to Shihoru. It's a thoughtless quip meant to amuse but instead sends Shihoru retreating deeper into herself, muttering she's just flat, that's all. Ronta's teasing continues, especially toward Yume, suggesting she might be feeling the pressure to keep up with other girls now tagged along with Haruhiro's band. The air feels tense, but the awkward banter is a trademark of their uneasy closeness. It's the way they relate, through jest and the occasional insensitivity, trying to navigate the strangeness of their reality. Minato, the group's leader and moral compass, arrives last. He is flanked by a particular aura of calm authority that reassures the others despite the tense atmosphere. Addressing the group, he keeps things practical, focusing them on the mission at hand. He takes Ronta's demand for a more respectful address with a grain of salt, allowing room for humor and camaraderie to lighten the heavy air. "You've already stopped calling me Haruhiro by just my name, anyway," he says to Ronta with a soft chuckle. The group's formation is solidified, Haruhiro as the thief, Yume the hunter, Shihoru the mage, and Minato, the formidable priest who stands as their anchor. It's clear this gathering is a stew of novices trying to layer skill upon raw potential. Minato's voice carries his belief in them, reminding Haruhiro of their roles and that they need to fulfill them with utmost sincerity. Minato's leadership style is gentle but firm, though he isn't without moments of vulnerability. During this session, as he guides the team in remembering their responsibilities, he acknowledges his feelings of being berated by his previous mentor, Barbara-sensei. Yet, Minato takes those moments as fuel to be better. "I don't think I was being yelled at, really, it's just an opportunity to get better," he insists, showcasing his resilience. Haruhiro reflects on Minato's growth and their progress through snippets of their shared past training. Haruhiro is aware of how far they've come since the beginning, recognizing the transformation each team member has undergone since arriving in Grimgar. Continuous training and various trials have forged them into cohesive, albeit imperfect, warriors. As they set out to recruit for the guild, Haruhiro finds himself tangled in Ronta's aspirations of becoming a Dread Knight. Ronta's enthusiasm is contagious, even if it sometimes comes across as misguided. His eyes gleam with ambition as he proclaims his desire to summon demons and accumulate power, a notion that Haruhiro finds both absurd and fascinating. The seriousness of joining the guild looms over them, and Ronta's aspirations symbolize the tension of choosing and committing to a path in this world. They grapple with understanding their worth, how this fantasy world demands a clear role they must fulfill, often with dire consequences if done negligently. Later, Haruhiro and the team spot an unexpected figure, Maguzo. He's crouched by the road, his massive frame clad in chainmail, exuding the air of a resilient warrior. Despite his intimidating appearance, Maguzo is gentle, an aspect that endears him to his comrades. Maguzo explains he's joined the Warriors Guild, much to the surprise of the others. Minato and Haruhiro exchange glances, recognizing the bond forming amongst them, steady and sturdy like Maguzo's presence. Minato commends Maguzo's decision to join the Warriors, pointing out that each member's growth and choices add to the strength of their group. Maguzo receives this with a shy nod, his quiet demeanor masking the fierce loyalty and bravery he's beginning to nurture within himself. As they continue, Yume shares how the world outside of Alterna is teeming with unfamiliar landmarks and mysterious pasts. Their newfound knowledge of Grimgar's history unveils a land divided, with kingdoms fallen to the undead and reformed under new banners. It's a place where alliances are fragile and the looming threat of monsters is a constant reminder of their mortality. In the forest, shaded by broadleaf trees, the team readies themselves for another hunt. They rely on each other's strength and emerging skills, combining their unique specialties to survive. As playful banter morphs into serious confrontation with wild creatures, the team hones their capabilities, facing the harsh realities of combat and the need for strategy. Through each trial, from Ronta's edgy humor to Yume's assertive commands in the forest, the group gradually finds a rhythm. Every encounter teaches them more about each other and themselves. The forests of Grimgar become both a classroom and a battlefield, molding them into warriors who may not yet fully grasp their potential but are learning to stand their ground amidst uncertainty. The story of Haruhiro and his companions unfolds as a testament to growth, resilience, and camaraderie forged in the crucible of an unfamiliar world. Each character plays their part, weaving a tale of adventure and the transformative power of shared experiences in the face of adversity. Haruhiro and his team find themselves caught in a tense confrontation with a group of pit rats. The chaos erupts quickly as Ronta recklessly draws his long sword, launching an attack. Yume cautions him about the pit rat's swiftness, her voice tinged with urgency. Haruhiro, trying to regain control, exhorts Ronta not to act recklessly. But Ronta seems caught in the heat of the moment, thrusting with his sword, only to miss. Haruhiro warns, "Don't use skills recklessly," as the pit rat scampers away and disappears behind a tree. More confusion ensues as Shihoru, attempting a magic missile spell, accidentally misfires. The spell fizzles out ineffectively, causing Ronta to trip over his own feet in the midst of his attack attempt. The pit rats, seemingly having the upper hand, charge at them with renewed vigor. Haruhiro finds himself knocked off balance, cascading down a slope, and luckily avoiding injury. The tension is thick, frustration and exhaustion wearing heavily on everyone. Minato, ever the calming presence, quickly steps in with a healing spell to mend Haruhiro's injuries after a well-timed skirmish where the team manages to fend off the rats. As the dust settles, Ronta doesn't seem too pleased. In his typical fashion, he throws a minor tantrum about their lack of profit from the battle and his own pain. Minato reassures him with a quiet nod, and Shihoru mutters apologetically. Under the shade of a tree, the group reflects on their predicament. They consider returning to town now that the sun is threatening to set, hoping to find some cheaper lodging. Haruhiro suggests a market visit and some food before they bed down for the night, a small consolation after a long day. Ronta, however, is skeptical about the quality and cost, voicing his disdain. As they exchange thoughts and plans, Yume comments dryly on their inexperience. It's clear they need more practice in battle. Minato, always the voice of reason, affirms her observation and emphasizes the importance of patience, particularly when dealing with cunning creatures like the pit rats. Later, the group makes its way back slowly, hunger gnawing at them. Haruhiro listens to their banter, considering their circumstance. They have a fatherly figure in Minato, yet the sense of security remains fragile as they navigate this strange world. As the night draws in, the camaraderie helps to solidify their bond. The following day, Haruhiro and his team cautiously approach a spring. They're aware that danger lurks, and Haruhiro remains on high alert as his eyes scan their surroundings. The landscape is peaceful at first glance, but it soon gives way to more tension as a mud goblin, known as a gob, reveals itself, seeming less threatening than its true nature. As the goblin attacks, Haruhiro rallies his team. He tries to strike the goblin, a nerve-wracking realization dawning upon him. It's running away, he blurts out as the goblin manages to dodge his efforts. However, Yume impressively lands a hit, injuring the goblin's wrist slightly. Nice one, Yume. Haruhiro encourages, trying to maintain morale. Ronta, oblivious still, plunges his longsword too wildly and falls, but with quickly regained composure, he helps trap the goblin. Chaos ensues, the mud gob is inadvertently pushed closer to Shihoru, who panics but draws on her determination to contribute with a desperately called-on magic missile. In a climactic moment, the group surrounds the goblin. Though it fights valiantly, the collective efforts of Minato's spell and their physical attacks wear it down. There are lives at stake here. Minato implores, gesturing for final blows as the goblin falters. It's an unsettling moment when it finally slumps down, signaling the end of their encounter. In the aftermath, relief mingles with exhaustion. Minato offers another soothing healing spell, ensuring everyone's wounds are sealed. Shihoru slumps down, visibly shaken by the ordeal. Haruhiro pushes a reluctant grin, feeling the weight of their progress and the ever-present danger of their reality. As they prepare to leave, Haruhiro inspects the fallen goblin, noting a necklace of teeth, each piece a macabre testament to its past victims. This macabre trophy serves as a somber reminder of the battle they waged. The group debates briefly, relieved but wary, ready to head back to the safety of camp as dusk falls over the landscape. Ronta, poking fun as usual, tries to lighten the mood with jokes, pulling on Yume's frustration as well as Shihoru's anxiety. Despite the scare moments before, they find some grounding in their trivial bickering. It's part of their adaptability in a foreign environment. Minato chuckles at their antics, directing the group homewards where rest could finally remove the edge of tension that lingered strongly in the air. When they finally settle, there's a quiet moment of reflection, each member grappling with the day's events in their own way. Haruhiro, staring into the flickering firelight, contemplates their small victory against the mud goblin, a triumph tempered by the knowledge that many more challenges await them. This newfound world, cloaked in mystery and danger, feels a little less daunting with friends by his side. However, Haruhiro knows intrusions of doubt and fear will always lurk on the periphery, just out of sight, demanding constant vigilance and unwavering courage in the face of the unknown. Haruyuki and his companions are in a tense moment, facing the chilling reality of combat in a mysterious, unforgiving world. The air is filled with uncertainty and determination as they address Yume's apology with gentle reassurance, encouraging her to dive into action with confidence. Despite her reservations, Yume is resolved to face what's ahead, knowing her teammates trust in her abilities. With a plan in mind, Haruyuki, Ronta, and the others prepare to leave the safety of their lodging house, their hearts burdened by the understanding that their survival hinges on the success of their hunts. The team endeavors to gather enough funds to sustain their simple needs, earning copper pieces through dangerous combat against goblins. As they settle into their temporary dwelling in Alterna, the living conditions reflect their status as trainees. The quarters are modest, and the hefty responsibility of managing expenses weighs heavily on Haruyuki. He grapples with concerns about their financial stability, particularly for Maguzo, whose enormous appetite threatens their meager savings. This constant need for money drives Haruyuki's resolve to continually hone his skills for the battles ahead. Ronta and Haruyuki's camaraderie is tested as they bicker and challenge each other's decisions. Ronta's mischievous yet daring spirit occasionally annoys Haruyuki, but their shared goal fortifies their bond. Together, they face the day's unpredictability with hope and a shared acknowledgement of their precarious situation. Haruyuki reflects on the nature of their uncertain world, where tomorrow promises neither safety nor success. His philosophical musings remind him of their limited time and the fragility of their circumstances. The strain of their situation leads to a heartfelt conversation between Ronta and Haruyuki. Ronta, in his candid way, questions their next steps and the meaning behind their actions. "Don't you guys want to see? Are you seriously okay not doing it?" Ronta prods, grappling with the team's cautious approach. This prompts Haruyuki to wrestle internally with his desire to prove himself against the dangers lurking outside. Amid the tension, Minato emerges as a steadying force for the group, weaving reassurance through his spoken wisdom. When a snoozing goblin comes into their sight, Minato's strategic mind guides them efficiently. Recognizing the opportunity, Haruyuki and the others close in on the unaware goblin. They are determined to seize this chance to grasp victory swiftly and efficiently. "Let's go back," Haruyuki urges, realizing that small victories might soon become precious memories against the backdrop of a challenging world. Minato and Haruyuki exchange silent nods, each understanding their part in the unfolding story. Haruyuki, with wisdom beyond his years, knows that each choice in this alien landscape can alter their fate. A temporary respite eases the group's collective tension as they recount their experience. Their camaraderie, formed through trial and shared hardship, strengthens their resolve. In quiet moments, the bonds between them solidify, offering rare comfort amid the daily peril of their journey. The essence of their experience lingers, echoing the fear and hope coursing through their veins. With each step they take, they navigate the delicate balance between life and the unknown, their collective strength knit tightly by the threads of trust and friendship. As Ronta stands over the fallen goblin's corpse, he checks to make sure it's dead. Haruhiro imagines the creature reviving in a nightmarish fashion, but the goblin's eyes remain shut, the hexagram mark on its head stark against its skin. The tension in the air slowly dissipates. Maguzo, Yume, and Shihoru surround the lifeless body. Ronta triumphantly plants a foot on the carcass. "Got top all over it now. Viscera, guts, juice, my victory juice." Minato examines the body carefully, searching for any usable spoils. He picks up 2 silver coins from beneath the goblin's hands. "Silver coins," he announces, triumphant. Yume, who has an affinity for collecting strange items, grabs a pair of mismatched coins, and recalls finding a rock with a similar, interesting hue. The group stashes the coins with other odds and ends, including some odd trinket that Shihoru had procured. Yume's eyes widen at a small talisman Minato unearths. "It's new, isn't it?" Everyone exchanges intrigued glances. All these finds mean survival, another day where they'll have food to eat and a roof over their heads. As the day drags on, Haruhiro feels his grip on himself loosen, as exhaustion claims him. Ronta, ever the braggart, shakes the delicate calm of the moment with relentless self-congratulation. "I'm so awesome, aren't I?" Haruhiro chuckles, shaking his head. "Nah," he replies, "you look just as frantic as ever, Ronta." Jovial curses and playful banter fly between them, sowing camaraderie into the group. Yet Haruhiro can't quite shake the feeling that he's carrying invisible weights. In the old city of Demuro, every showdown is a tightrope walk on the razor edge of survival. Back at their camp, they manage their limited resources. Haruhiro mulls over each victory, pondering strategic plays like chess moves, aware each clash could be their last. But they need to face it together, without faltering. Minato's softly spoken reassurances carry them, promising if I ever lose someone as valuable as you, I'll be the one in trouble. The pervasive do-or-die gamesmanship of their lives looms larger every day. Yet it's Minato's presence that knits them together, a quiet stability anchoring them amid relentless uncertainty. Every obstacle demands their unity, every tomorrow a test of unyielding perseverance. In the depths of the night, their bunkhouse offers little comfort. Haruhiro battles with the past, sifting through memories that refuse to solidify. When he questions Minato about their odd reality, they almost laugh it off. Are they part of some distorted game? Minato toys with the notion. A game, hey, he muses, perhaps tongue-in-cheek, a guardian against spiraling dread. When the morning comes, it's another day in the old city of Demuro. From dawn till dusk, steel clashes against steel, screams fall silent, and they repeatedly defeat goblins. Haruhiro ventures into the fray, his earlier saber and dagger attacks rendering yet another lifeless opponent. The crew discusses their plans, reviewing maps, brainstorming tactical strategies for the next expedition. Every decision hinges on precision, a chance to tinker in tactical engagements. They aim to uncover more silver, a meager currency for survival, potentially enough to earn their daily bread and the occasional night of shelter. They reflect on yesterday's takedowns, an amalgam of skilled skirmishes and the uncanny rapport between them. Ronta, particularly savage and theatrical in his battle style, flaunts his tenacity with cries of victory. Maguzo and Yume, steady and reliable, are the pillars during every clash. Each has their part, each victory buffets the relentless tide of fear. Amidst the exhalations of battle and banter, another evening descends upon them. In stolen moments of calm, Yume jokes about their struggles and devotion to a divine entity they might not fully grasp, whimsically poking fun at each other's apparent flaws and missteps. When it comes to relationships and bonds, the stakes feel surmountable. It's a testament to Minato's guidance, his words knit their disparate hopes and fears into cohesive unity. Each character brings color to this vibrant tapestry, hyper and bracing Ronta, pensive Haruhiro, nurturing Yume, bashful yet fierce Shihoru. Though Ronta and Haruhiro bicker light-heartedly about fake evils and shared humanity, it's clear that together, they form a semblance of family, flawed but indispensable. The banter tilts the uneasiness into bearable warmth. In these moments, Minato whispers to himself, wondering at the miracle of their functioning party. The bonds between them are as vital as life itself. Throughout the push and pull of their days, these companions are learning what it truly means to fight, survive, and perhaps care for one another in this confounding land, a world of swords, spells, and the shadows of an unknown past. Haruhiro and his companions find themselves discussing their strengths and weaknesses, trying to strategize better attacks against goblins. Haruhiro imagines Maguzo and Minato leading, with Ronta in the middle, and Yume and Shihoru providing support from the sides. If the two strongest members charge in and Ronta distracts, they may face fewer difficulties. Yume's tough exterior with a machete and accuracy with a bow are seen as assets, potentially helping improve their approach. As Haruhiro and the others reflect on Shihoru's improvements, Ronta teasingly remarks on Shihoru's feelings for Haruhiro, causing some awkwardness. Meanwhile, Yume, feeling self-conscious, touches her own chest after Ronta makes a comment on her size, which Haruhiro tries to brush off as he focuses on developing their plan of attack. With focus in mind, Haruhiro gestures to the group silently. He often acts as the scout due to his duty of sneaking ahead, and is reminded of Barbara-sensei, who taught him the thief techniques. He recalls the various forms of goblins they might face, normal, armed, big, and hobgoblins, which are like a larger brute subtype. Haruhiro feels the weight of the task ahead, sizing up their potential opponent silently. Getting down to specifics, Haruhiro, Yume, and Shihoru decide to do the sneaking, with Maguzo and Minato waiting to execute upon signal. The plan is hatched carefully. Haruhiro, Yume, and Shihoru will go forward, while Ronta, Minato, and Maguzo will come from the opposite side. It's a coordinated strategy meant to use each member's strength efficiently. Haruhiro waits until the elemental, part of Shihoru's shadow magic, is ready to engage, setting their plan in motion. As the elemental strikes a goblin, the ensuing noise provides a signal, causing the others to move in. Arrows, magic, and swords come into play, and chaos breaks loose as Haruhiro and his teammates engage. Amidst the melee, an arrow strikes Haruhiro, causing intense pain as blood flows and fear of losing consciousness sets in. His focus wanes, and the reality of their dangerous endeavor crushes down as he struggles. Minato quickly tries to heal Haruhiro, utilizing his magic to seal the injury as best as possible, emphasizing the life-and-death circumstances. Maguzo faces off against a larger gob, and Haruhiro comes to a stark realization about the practical aspects of engaging such enemies. The gob's armor presents a challenge, and Haruhiro considers desperately that their weapons might not even penetrate effectively. Haruhiro is thrust into action despite his fears, pushing against the larger goblin, and eventually, with help from Minato's spell and others' assistance, manages to gain ground. When another goblin joins the fray, there's a tactical shift. Ronta takes the lead, showing off his prowess and giving the team some breathing space. Amid the dynamic combat sequence, Haruhiro finds himself needing to swap roles with Yume, allowing for a more suitable matchup. Maguzo demonstrates his brute strength and determination, slamming into the hobgoblin over and over, his relentless assault putting him in danger but steadily wearing the enemy down. The hobgoblin's fierce resistance is daunting, yet the group's combined efforts eventually have an impact. Run away. Just run, Haruhiro recites in his head during tense exchanges, recalling their instinct and training. When a chance arises, they start to retreat, recognizing it's better to live and fight another day than to be reckless and suffer defeat. As Haruhiro experiences the rushing tide of adrenaline and fear, he begins to articulate his reliance on Minato, the bond they share, and the essential support of the entire group. The harsh conflict and the measure of survival through chaos forge their camaraderie and the harsh reality of their world in a persistent reminder. Ultimately, the victory leaves Haruhiro and his allies dwelling on their losses and close shaves, while they nurse wounds both physical and emotional, a reflection of their ongoing struggle and resolve to persevere. Haruhiro kneels beside Minato, who is wheezing, his breaths coming uneasily. "You're gonna be okay, all right, Minato? You're gonna be okay, all right." Haruhiro's voice is anxious, pleading. "Hang in there, Minato, all right." Minato locks eyes with Haruhiro, struggling to form words. Urged by the desperation of the situation, Haruhiro insists, "I'm here, Minato." Minato's voice is faint, breaking. Haruhiro, the weight of everything unsaid hangs between them. "What? What is it? Minato, what is it?" Haruhiro asks. Minato's words are barely audible, "I'm so sorry." As Minato fades, a desperate plea breaks from Haruhiro's lips, "No. Don't. You can't leave us. Don't go. Please, Minato. Minato." A faint breath escapes Minato as he takes a sharp intake of air. His chest struggles and then he falls silent, eyes closing. The moment hangs in the air, heavy and unbearable. Shihoru, full of emotion, rushes to Minato's side. "Give him CPR." Ronta shouts in a tone that vibrates with fear and urgency. Despite the seemingly hopeless situation, Haruhiro launches into action, tirelessly trying to revive Minato, performing CPR with the mechanical rhythm of desperation. Maguzo offers steady support, lending his strength to carry Minato, and they set off for the temple to find help. Haruhiro, with only a glimmer of belief that things can change, wonders aloud, what if it isn't time we stopped? But there is no stopping, there can be no stopping. With a firm march, they arrive at the temple, where priests in pristinely decorated robes meet them. Haruhiro finds one who seems to be an essential figure, a man built like a rock yet gentle in his approach. The priest, Master Honen, demands to know what troubles them, and Haruhiro implores desperately, "Please, save Minato. I'll do anything, so please. I'm begging you." In this sacred place, a soul-wrenching reality descends. Minato is beyond saving. Even as the priest informs Haruhiro of this finality, the rest of the party stands immobilized by the thought that their comrade is truly gone. Haruhiro stammers, keenly aware of the emptiness that now resides in his heart. Master Honen, with compassion, offers them a chance to give Minato a proper cremation, even suggesting financial aid when Haruhiro hesitates due to their sparse resources. Although Haruhiro initially refuses, pride mingling with grief, he eventually acknowledges the kindness. They bury him on a quiet hill, wrapping his body in a white cloth before covering it in dirt. The weight of the earth sealing their goodbye feels heavy. Watching it happen, Haruhiro clings to the few emotions left resting inside him. He notices other volunteer soldiers resting nearby, each serving as a silent witness to the ephemeral bond shared between warriors. Days pass sleepily, the stinging loss playing on a loop in Haruhiro's mind, robbing him of rest. Each plan and every meeting tinges with the absence of Minato's familiar guidance and warmth. They are huddled amidst uncertainty, the weight on their shoulders no easier to bear. When Ronta, unnaturally subdued, attempts to lift the mood in a fitful effort of bravado, Haruhiro is forced to remind him, "We can't just sit here forever." Despite the bravado, the emptiness eats away at each of them, urging them towards something, anything, to break the spell of grief binding them. Eventually, Kikawa, a familiar presence, approaches the group. Full of buoyant energy and oblivious to the somber tone weighing over them, Kikawa makes an offer. "I heard there is a party looking for a priest. I can introduce you. Or maybe you'll think about recruiting another fighter." Although his insensitivity grates on Haruhiro, some kernel of Kikawa's words forces them to acknowledge a harsh practical reality: life doesn't pause for grief. Amidst this swirling mix of emotions, Haruhiro reflects deeply. What would Minato want for them? How would Minato move forward? Haruhiro feels tethered to these questions as he debates their next steps. "Minato is our comrade," he asserts, working to fortify their fragmented group while grappling with the wake of an unanticipated loss. In an effort to move forward, Haruhiro and his group arrange a meeting with Meri, a potential recruit. As the morning light filters through, the new recruit stands before them. Meri carries an air that commands attention, though her presence is cold and distant. She carries a beauty so arresting there is almost an unnatural quality to it, causing Haruhiro's guarded instincts to stir uneasily. Haruhiro and the others introduce themselves, each acknowledging the silent, pressing need to welcome her as part of their ensemble, a new beginning amidst an ending. The gathering marks another step on a path now shrouded in shadows and uncharted territory. Though their journey remains fraught with uncertainty, hope flickers faintly, threatening to reignite their resolve, a fresh chapter yet to be etched in the annals of their survival. While the road ahead remains indistinct and complex, Haruhiro stands focused, keenly aware that the bonds once forged with Minato do not fade but instead transform, urging them forward into the expanse of the unknown. Haruhiro and his group find themselves facing a dilemma. They're struggling to recruit a priest, a vital necessity for their survival, as those with such skills are rare. Kikawa mentions Meri, a priest who refuses to join other parties, rumored to be intimidating. Despite this, Haruhiro decides to talk to her, finding her cold and somewhat aloof. Ronta attempts to interact with her, asking, "See, couldn't you, do something about the way you talk, your attitude?" Meri's icy response silences him, emphasizing her formidable reputation. During the journey to Demuro, a sense of tension pervades. It's the first time they've returned since Minato's death. Haruhiro grapples with nostalgia and responsibility, reflecting on Minato's leadership. The group's motivation remains clear: they need to face any goblins to progress, yet the memory of their fallen comrade lingers heavily. Near the crumbling walls of Demuro, they encounter a potential threat, a group of goblins. Haruhiro declares, "We can handle these guys somehow," reminding them of their collective capability. Meri points out the necessity of a priest's staff, a revelation that leads to Ronta's irritation. As the battle ensues, tensions flare between the group members. Haruhiro, knowing the fight won't stop with a single encounter, internalizes his frustrations. They face off against various goblins, including a spear-wielding one that challenges them significantly. Yume and Shihoru struggle, trying to keep up with the intense combat. Ronta, facing his own challenges, hesitates before attacking, giving the goblin a chance to retaliate. Yume finds herself in dire straits, almost bested by a formidable goblin before Haruhiro intervenes. As the battle draws to a close, Haruhiro can't help but think, but Minato isn't here anymore. We've lost Minato. It's a sobering thought that underscores their ongoing struggle. Later, the group gathers at a tavern, where tensions bubble to the surface. Ronta, exasperated with Mary's demeanor, vents his frustrations. That woman scares me, he admits, highlighting the friction within the team. Maguzo tries to console him, but Haruhiro laments over their inability to properly integrate Mary into their team. The sense of inadequacy looms over them. Rinji, a far more successful adventurer, enters the scene, embodying the potential that Haruhiro's group strives for. Rinji's team is well-equipped, showcasing a stark contrast to Haruhiro's modest group. We're never going to close that gap, Haruhiro muses, conscious of the difference in status and resources. Haruhiro's encounter with Rinji takes an unexpected turn when Rinji gives him a gold coin. Conflicted, Haruhiro contemplates the gesture. Is this a consolation money, he wonders, reflecting on the implications of accepting such help. The conversation with his team reveals Haruhiro's internal turmoil. They face financial concerns, debating over their next move. The lingering question remains, can they improve and bridge the gap to Rinji's level? Haruhiro ponders, can we do it, or can't we? Realizing the weight of leadership, he resolves that they must try, despite the uncertainty. Haruhiro finds himself trying to connect with his companions Yume and Shihoru. He's concerned about how Yume is feeling and asks, "You made up all right?" "Ooh?" "The same as usual, I see." Yume acknowledges him, although there's an awkward pause. Haruhiro attempts to make casual conversation, mentioning dinner and past events, but it doesn't seem to spark much interest. The tension is palpable when he recalls a party from the night before that included Rinji. Yume's reaction reveals her frustration. "I didn't invite Mary without consulting you or Shihoru," Haruhiro admits. He hadn't thought things through, and Haruhiro starts feeling the weight of responsibility for the group's dynamics. Yume is firm yet gentle in her critique. "It's because you're like that. That's why Yume and Shihoru worry about you." The discussion touches on the group's struggles with communication, especially after Minato's loss. The memory of Minato's dedication to the group haunts them. He was their support, the glue that held them together. Haruhiro recalls how everything that happened affected them all, highlighting how dependent they were on Minato for emotional stability. Yume confronts Haruhiro directly, affirming that he needs to express his feelings more. "You felt like you were not the sort of person." "That's not true." Her voice is filled with emotion, and as Haruhiro apologizes, he's surprised by Yume's embrace, catching him off guard as they both cry. Yume assures him that they'll try to get along with Mary despite recent tensions. The exchange between the two is tender and heartfelt, just once in a while, but when Yume looks into her eyes, they're so cold. Like the look she gives, and her expression. The conversation shifts as Shihoru appears, stumbling upon what seems to be an intimate moment. An embarrassed Haruhiro explains the situation, clarifying any misunderstandings. They part ways for the night. The next morning, as the group plans their day, Shihoru confronts Haruhiro about his assumptions, revealing that Haruhiro misunderstood her actions. The conversation leads to an unexpected revelation about Mary's joining the party, which was more a necessity than a choice. Haruhiro expresses regret for jumping to conclusions, reflecting on how fragile their group's unity is. Ronta, never one to miss a chance to stir things up, teases Haruhiro about the incident. There's tension between the two, but Haruhiro remains firm. "You know, Yume, you don't have to say that," he comments, affecting a more serious tone. As the group sets out, Haruhiro internally assesses their collective dysfunction. They need Mary for her healing abilities, yet her distant demeanor adds strain. Despite his apprehension, Haruhiro feels a responsibility to make things work, emphasizing to Ronta that Mary is now an essential member of their team. During a confrontation with goblins, Mary's role becomes clear. She heals with a reserved demeanor, reflecting her pragmatic approach to their survival. It's her actions more than words that begin to reveal a layer of unseen depth. After the battle, Haruhiro seizes the chance to talk to Mary. He inquires, "So, say a person gets hurt. Do you wait for them to say it hurts, or something?" When Mary finally responds, it's a step toward building understanding. Despite the factual tone, there's a hint of vulnerability in Mary's interactions. This tense dynamic underscores the group's reliance on each other, especially as they each grapple with personal doubts and insecurities, trying to forge ahead in their challenging world. The backdrop of adventure adds an edge to their emotional journey, highlighting their growth and the slow, sometimes painful bonding process. Upon receiving their share of the evening's earnings, Haruhiro and his companions head to Sherry's tavern. The group is struggling to maintain cohesion as tensions are high, particularly between Haruhiro and Ronta. In an effort to alleviate some of the stress, Haruhiro suggests, "There's a whole lot of folks saying they're about done." Despite their internal struggles, the camaraderie among the group members is apparent in their banter and mutual efforts to cheer each other up. After their meal, Mary joins them at the table. Her presence stirs mixed reactions, especially from Ronta, whose boisterous remarks spark tension. Moments of awkwardness continue to punctuate their interactions. Haruhiro tries to manage the situation, defending Mary by noting, "It's not your place to criticize her." Ronta's inappropriate comments about Mary's expression highlight the underlying discord within the group. At the same time, there's an air of mystery surrounding Mary and her reluctance to fully open up to her team. Haruhiro acknowledges, "We don't need to go out of our way to worry about her feelings," yet he cannot help but sense they've misjudged her. The conversation shifts to strategies on surviving and thriving in their challenging environment. They discuss joining forces with other clans to overcome obstacles. Ronta jokes about the prospects, demonstrating his attempts to mask his insecurities. The topic steers toward Orion, a famous collective. Maguzo recalls that there are clans like Berserkers and Iron Knuckle who have made names for themselves, bolstering the group's spirits. Hope is sparked by tales of Orion's successes. Amidst this discussion, the door to the tavern opens with a flurry of activity. Enter Soma and his entourage, their entrance capturing attention immediately. Soma stands out as he exudes a palpable aura of confidence and authority, his cool demeanor casting a larger-than-life presence. Haruhiro's attention lingers on Soma, noting the marked difference between Soma and the rest of the patrons. He's struck by his own aspirations and the path he must travel. Their conversation briefly touches on Soma's importance and Ronta's hero worship, all of which intensifies Haruhiro's introspection. He struggles inwardly with his role in the group, reflecting on past moments with the deceased Minato, pondering what leadership means. The question looms, is that something I can be? Later, as they prepare for the night's endeavors, Haruhiro is consumed by thoughts of Minato and the leadership role vacated by his untimely death. With a hint of determination, Haruhiro steps forward, embracing his responsibilities. They face a pair of goblins in the ensuing skirmish. Ronta and Yume take the initial front, while Maguzo wields his mighty sword. Haruhiro assesses his group's strengths and coordinates their attack, supporting Maguzo when his injury hinders him slightly. A tense moment unfolds as Maguzo grapples with a goblin, but with Haruhiro's support and quick thinking, they manage a victory. Memories of Minato's word fuel Haruhiro's resolve. As he recalls, it's about taking that first step. Their experiences together serve as lessons that propel him forward. They struggle, driven by the realization that enemies don't have to be killed, they have to be survived. During a brief interlude, Haruhiro approaches Maguzo, encouraging him to obtain better armor. There, they share a moment of reflection. "We ought to learn," Haruhiro says, steering his companion towards thoughtful preparation and survival. This captures the collective heart of their journey, growth through experience. With some silver savings, they move towards purchasing supplies. Ronta's inexperience is palpable as he reiterates his reluctance to invest in heavy armor. Haruhiro offers his own funds, reinforcing the idea of teamwork and sacrifice while Mary quietly observes the camaraderie she's becoming a part of. In the next battle, amidst the chaos, Haruhiro takes notice of Mary's progress. Her controlled competence shines, proving that she is becoming an integral part of the group. Haruhiro reflects, understanding that Meri's reserved nature stems from her cautious courage. Haruhiro's leadership qualities start to illuminate slowly. As they regroup after the fight, their cluttered emotions and thoughts find a semblance of order. A glimmer of hope appears in Meri's demeanor too. She's beginning to open herself to being part of the team. Their story is one anchored by learning through living and the ordeal of surviving in an unforgiving world. Despite friction, apprehension, and personal growth, Haruhiro and his comrades are inextricably tied together by their shared journey. Through battles they tire, but in this fierce landscape, their unity nurtures resilience, and Haruhiro's emergence as a potential leader is perhaps the beginning of a new chapter. In the bustling world of Grimgar, the air is tense as Meri interacts with her companions. Ronta, observing Meri's discomfort, tries to break the tension with humor, but his remarks only seem to heighten her embarrassment. Meri, feeling exposed, shifts her gaze and attempts to brush off the conversation with a simple, "See you." As the group prepares to rest, Yume notices something unusual about Maguzo's beard. Despite the light-hearted observation, there is an undercurrent of change in the group's dynamics, an uneasiness that can't be ignored. Haruhiro monitors these interactions, pondering the complexity of their team's relationships. Later, at the town's market, Haruhiro finds himself haggling over a new barber for Maguzo. Although initially hesitant due to the price, Haruhiro decides it's necessary, given the quality and durability. "Well, I effectively put in 24 silver," Haruhiro tells Maguzo, reassuring him of the investment's worth. Maguzo is humbled by the gesture, emphasizing how grateful he is to Haruhiro and the team. But the piece is fragile. Ronta, notorious for his reckless tongue, ignites tension by referring to Meri as an outsider. Although Haruhiro tries to defuse the situation, Ronta's comments linger uncomfortably in the air. Haruhiro reflects inwardly, realizing, Meri's hard to approach, but I don't think she's hostile. He muses that Meri, much like the rest of them, is navigating her own personal challenges. A moment of calm is disrupted by Ronta's sudden frustration at Haruhiro's apparent favoritism towards Meri. "You're always ignoring me," Ronta complains, displaying an undercurrent of insecurity. Haruhiro reassures him, albeit distractedly, understanding that interpersonal relationships are more complex than Ronta imagines. As the group gears up for their next adventure, Haruhiro invites Shihoru along, instantly supported by Yume and Maguzo. United in purpose, they set their sights on the old city of Demuro, their recent encounters with goblins only strengthening their resolve. Shinohara, a fellow volunteer soldier, stops them to discuss their recent activities and share his insights. It's during this conversation that Haruhiro learns about the reputation they've garnered. They're being called the Goblin Slayers, a testament to their prowess in combat. Shinohara, wise from experience, cautions them, hinting at the consequences of a singular focus on goblins. Amidst these discussions, the memory of Minato lingers heavily on Haruhiro's heart. He yearns for wisdom from his lost friend, contemplating how different things might have been if Minato were still with them. "There's no telling when I might die myself," Haruhiro thinks, accepting the haunting uncertainty that shadows their lives. Intrigue spurs when Haruhiro seeks Shinohara's advice on a delicate matter, Meri. It's been 1 year since she entered their party after her own group's tragic downfall. Haruhiro, learning from Hayoshi, discovers Meri's painful past, involving an encounter with an indomitable foe known as Death Spots. Meri's former group, a formidable team, had been ambushed. Despite their strength and Meri's healing prowess, they were outmatched. In the desperate, chaotic battle, Meri was forced to abandon a comrade, a decision that still haunts her. "I won't make excuses," Meri had admitted, a testimony to her enduring guilt. Haruhiro pieces these insights together, deeply empathizing with Meri's internal conflict. "I don't want any of us thinking that," he reflects, vowing to prevent such despair from consuming his team again. Yet, beneath Haruhiro's introspection, there is a determination to break through to Meri, hoping she can heal and find peace. As they continue to face challenges in this daunting world, Haruhiro ponders Meri's future. Her withdrawal from the group, despite her invaluable skills, underscores a painful journey of healing and redemption she must face alone. With this realization, Haruhiro understands that the key to supporting Mary lies in patience and unwavering comradeship. "Sorry, but could you leave the party?" Mary whispers, preparing to distance herself from the ghosts of her past. But Haruhiro knows deeper bonds are formed in adversity, and he silently resolves to stand by her, no matter what. In this ever-shifting realm of fantasy and ash, camaraderie might just be the strongest magic of all. Haruhiro reflects on the dire situation without Minato, lamenting how they once believed they were finished. Facing the harsh reality of being left with nothing, he emphasizes the bond between himself, Ronta, Yume, and Shihoru. With their backs against the wall, they must rely heavily on each other. Haruhiro acknowledges how much their situation has affected them, particularly Mary, who seems distant. Despite the challenges they face, Haruhiro urges the group to find a direction and focus, hoping they can build something better out of the chaos. Mary's response is minimal, showing her internal struggle. She quietly acknowledges her lack of feeling, admitting she doesn't understand why things feel off. Shihoru, noticing Haruhiro's frustration, encourages him to find a way through his own feelings. Haruhiro makes an effort to remain optimistic despite the tension, recognizing the need for a goal to work towards, even if it feels distant and undefined. The group continues to find their footing, trying to settle on a new objective. Haruhiro suggests needing a dream or a direction to strive for, emphasizing that even a small goal is enough to focus their efforts. For Haruhiro, the idea of attempting even a little improvement each day offers hope. Mary's quiet affirmation of seeing them tomorrow signals a glimmer of camaraderie still present among them. The group endures harsh mornings, waking early to prepare. They continue to scout the old city of Demuro, facing constant challenges with the goblins living there. Goblins are categorized into those who stay in the city and those who roam. While the goblins appear menacing, Haruhiro's team is determined to keep their focus sharp, acknowledging how even though they've faced many difficulties, they haven't broken completely. Gathering courage, they head to Sherry's tavern, where they're affectionately called Goblin Slayers by other volunteers. This new nickname motivates Haruhiro. He sees it as a source of pride, a label acknowledging their growth and determination. Despite light-hearted banter from others, including Ronta's exaggerated boastfulness and Yume's playful teasing, the name sticks, marking a small victory for the group. In lighter moments, the group shares humorous exchanges, with Ronta being his usual over-the-top self, declaring his hotness with exaggerated confidence. Yume's teasing directed toward him, and their banter create a familiar sense of camaraderie. Even with the playful dynamics, Haruhiro notices Mary caring for him in subtle ways, which reassures him slightly despite his lack of self-confidence. Haruhiro and his friends bring their skills to the front, preparing to face their next challenges in the old city. Maguzo is seen trying to complete his plated armor, identifying how each member is focused on improving their abilities. Shihoru continues practicing her spells, and Haruhiro keeps refining his skills, knowing fully well they need every advantage they can muster. Entering one such battle, Haruhiro, Maguzo, Yume, Shihoru, and Mary begin strategizing. Haruhiro whispers Ipatsu, signaling their collective action. Moving as a unit, they position themselves against goblin threats in the dilapidated city. They operate with precision, understanding the importance of keeping a sharp eye on their surroundings and strategies. Tension builds as Mary readies her staff, summoning elemental powers. It's a carefully coordinated effort, each member playing a vital role. Maguzo provides the frontline attack while Shihoru covers him with magic. The sense of teamwork is palpable as they move in harmony, each understanding their role within the group. Maguzo's blade smashes through a goblin, showing the strength and determination from the usually gentle giant. His friends support from all sides, covering his opening and ensuring no goblin can move freely to flank them. The challenges test their endurance and nerves, but they keep pushing forward, determined not to let fear overwhelm them. Ronta's unexpected use of Exhaust, a special movement ability, surprises the goblins, allowing the team to gain an upper hand. His brazen charm and wild unpredictability inject both chaos and ingenuity into their attack pattern. Ronta is loud and outrageous, consistently challenging and pushing the boundaries of their fight strategy. The squad's collective efforts and synchronized actions end in success, with no casualties on their side. Yet, as Haruhiro reflects on the skirmish end, he understands this is merely one victory amongst many battles. Nevertheless, he allows himself a moment to revel in their accomplishment. Their resilience and companionship, forged through harsh trials, serve as a testament to their growth as a team. Simultaneously, deeper inside the heart of their expedition, Haruhiro faces his tangled emotions towards Mary, finding solace in the quiet presence and simple acts of friendship she extends. The blending of familiarity, humor, fear, and bravery interweaves their lives, marking a promising yet delicate camaraderie. As night falls, they head back to their resting spot, bracing themselves for what tomorrow brings, embracing their shared determination to carve a future in this unpredictable world. Haruhiro and his comrades find themselves in a tense situation. Ronta, ever the brash and moody one, taunts his companions, calling them hopeless and ashamed, but his words mask a deeper fear. Haruhiro attempts to respond, but hesitates, only managing a weak, whatever, doesn't matter. Maguzo, the gentle giant of the group, earnestly tries to rally the team, saying, "We're here, and we'll be there soon." His words have a calming effect, and Haruhiro is grateful for this reminder of their shared bond. Ronta interrupts, snarkily toying with the situation and quipping about how he's the greatest. Mary, the most reserved of them, advises to ignore Ronta's provocations. In an unexpected moment, Mary cracks a rare smile, telling Haruhiro she believes in him. "I should have burned the vision of it into my memory," Haruhiro thinks, touched by Mary's gesture. He's reminded of their journey and their fragile unity. Mary also reassures him, "You won't die even if they kill me," and urges him to stay focused, a sentiment Haruhiro trusts deeply. As the group devises a plan, Haruhiro knows they are vulnerable. Their life in Grimgar is relentless, battling the unknown, but they press on. Haruhito's mind races as they prepare to confront two notorious goblins, a plate armor gob and a hobgob. Their target is close, but the sinister presence of these foes looms large. Haruhiro signals for action, his team tense and alert. Yume readies her bow and everyone settles in, the anticipation palpable. The tactical preparation bears slight unease, and Haruhito's heart pounds with the familiar thrill of combat. It's finally time, he thinks, urging himself to stay calm. A pivotal moment arrives as Yume courageously jumps out of cover, aiming her bow, only to face immediate threat from the plate armor gob. Her arrow narrowly misses, and Haruhiro realizes, "What should I do? What am I going to do?" His mind races, knowing they cannot retreat. The ensuing chaos is brutal. Yume gets slightly wounded, her arm grazed by the gob's spear. The situation escalates when Ronta and Maguzo dive into the fray. Maguzo exhibits his formidable strength, lunging with his bastard sword and managing to land a heavy blow on the hobgob. Haruhiro, meanwhile, battles the relentless plate armor gob, wielding his dagger with firm resolve. Mary and Shihoru remain at a safe distance, focusing intently, with Shihoru casting spells to disorient their enemies. The spell hits effectively, helping Haruhiro, who deftly uses Shihoru's diversion to his advantage. Haruhito's mind is set, determined to see this fight through to victory. The battle reaches a fever pitch when Haruhiro and Ronta face off against the plate armor gob. Ronta, unable to hide his fear, calls out for help, but Haruhiro focuses on the fight, every muscle taut with determination. The enemy is cunning and relentless, forcing Haruhiro to push himself beyond his limits. He attacks skillfully, his movements honed by both fear and adrenaline. As the fight rages on, Maguzo proves to be a formidable warrior. He charges with a fearsome roar, Ruo Henin, unleashing his powerful move, Rage Blow. His strike echoes in Haruhito's ears, each sound amplifying the tension. Maguzo stands resilient, even when speared, demonstrating unparalleled bravery and spirit. Amidst the chaos, Haruhito's instincts kick in. He remembers a conversation with Mary, a quiet moment of trust between them, and he uses it to fuel his resolve. He must protect his comrades, his family. At that moment, Haruhiro makes a pivotal decision to attack decisively. Now, I'll slash. His thoughts narrow, as if time itself slows, as he plunges his dagger into the gob. There's a clash of steel, the unmistakable feeling of decisive action. Haruhito's hand moves automatically, driven by reflex and sheer willpower. Finally, the plate armor gob weakens. Maguzo's earlier strike was critical, leaving it vulnerable. With a final, combined effort, the group overpowers the goblin duo. The battle ends in their hard-won victory, the goblins defeated, though the scars of the fight linger. Haruhito, clutching his wounds, channels his fading strength into gratitude for their lives spared, for Meri's belief, and for Maguzo's unwavering courage. As the dust settles, Haruhito realizes his laughing, clutching his side in pain and relief. That was more than just a fight, he reflects, feeling every ache, every bruise, but also the warmth of his comrades beside him. They each stand with wounds and weariness, yet there's a silent acknowledgement of their resilience and unity. Meri offers healing, adding a gentle touch amidst the aftermath, while Haruhito and the others share a moment of camaraderie and quiet triumph. The battle has passed, but their journey continues, bound by the struggles they've faced and victories earned in the shadowed world of Grimgar. Haruhiro stands at a grave, lost in thought, contemplating what to say in this moment. The grave is Minato's, their fallen comrade, and Haruhiro finds it difficult to express the emotion swirling inside him. Time feels elusive, mere weeks since they first knew each other, yet it feels like an eternity. If only we had spent longer together, Haruhiro muses, considering how they might have shown one another their true selves, understanding strengths and weaknesses. This realization dawns bittersweetly, as he reflects on what could have been. One day, unexpectedly, Minato showed love for them all and changed everything. Ronta, Maguzo, Yume, Shihoru, each member of their party holds their badge, a tangible reminder of their bond with Minato. Meri stands slightly apart, hands clenching at her sides, her eyes focused on the ground. We didn't have money to spare before, Ronta admits, gripping his badge. Haruhiro acknowledges this truth, understanding the grim struggle they faced. Yet, none of them hesitated when it mattered, rallying without a second thought. Ronta continues, I really can't stand guys who won't shut up about how good they are. A small smile spreads, momentarily breaking the somber atmosphere as jokes and jibes fill the air, echoing the camaraderie they shared. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Ronta adds, actually, Yume, wrapping it in your cloak meant Minato was warm, right? There was nothing of him left if they were hurtful. Feeling a pang of both nostalgia and sadness, Haruhiro mumbles a soft agreement, acknowledging how much they miss Minato's presence. The past stings, but it also bonds them. Shihoru joins Ronta and Maguzo with their badges. Isn't it time for that? Ronta nods, his heart heavy yet determined. The moment of silence stretches, filled with unspoken words of love and longing. Shihoru places Minato's badge on the grave, her voice quivering as she apologizes, I'm sorry. Even then. I just couldn't do anything. As the badges rest upon Minato's grave, Haruhiro finds the courage to speak directly to his lost friend. This one's for you, Minato-kun. We used the money to improve our equipment, just like you wanted. Deep inside, Haruhiro wonders, if you could hear this, Minato, would you laugh, wishing they didn't have to do it? A solitary candle burns softly at the graveside, catching whispers in the wind. The tokens they leave behind serve as tributes, vows, and silent prayers. After all, Minato, we can't call you back. We want to make you proud, Haruhiro declares, his eyes brimming with unshed tears. Yume's voice gently intervenes, urging them onward, urging them to find peace amid the pain. Together, they stand before the rushing river, the boundary that separates life from the unknown. Here at Minato's resting place, Haruhiro closes his eyes, longing for one more chance to speak with him. But reality is unyielding, absolute. About to depart, they linger for one last moment of goodbye. Maguzo draws a deep breath, Meri follows suit, her gaze set on horizons unseen. Shihoru holds her badge tightly before placing it down, whispering words only Minato might hear. Haruhiro offers a final thought, we've become a good party. The reflection carries hope, a comforting truth resonating deeply within each of them. As they make their way back to Alterna, the bells toll a melancholic sound marking the hour. A red half-moon hangs overhead, stirring an unshakable feeling of déjà vu within Haruhiro. Questions churn, but clear answers elude him. Why was the moon red, he wonders, a strange familiarity gnawing at him. Past memories drift through his thoughts, where they had been and what brought them here. Volunteering as soldiers, awakening alongside others to this new reality where each day tested their survival. Despite uncertainty, here they are, bound by friendship, forged in hardship. Every glance backward to that tower, was it dark? No, Haruhiro recalls the bits and pieces, the fragment of memory dwarfed by confusion and doubt. Hey, Minato, Haruhiro says softly to the silent stone, why are we doing this stuff? Even the doubts may fade, hazy as they might feel now. Resolute, he holds on to hope, purpose, and the shared courage that keeps them moving forward. Together, they walk back into the embrace of a new day, carrying warmth in their hearts, wondering how they will face tomorrow. Though shadows linger, their bonds shine ever brighter, compelling them onward, reminding them they are never truly alone.